Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lunchtime with Anna. I have not only an amazing woman, because I think we should all uplift each other, especially women, right? An amazing, strong, independent,
Mm.
amazing woman who is a special guest today, Damita Bishop. But I'll let her talk to you guys about her. Demita, I wanted to first, before anything, thank you for taking out of your busy time because I could tell you're in your car again. That means you're in the middle of something.
Just yeah, just left port in White County, Georgia. I live in Marietta, and it was an hour and 45 minutes today. There wasn't very much traffic, so that's probably standard time to get there. Yeah. No,
Sorry.
no, it's what I do. I leave the state to go to court or whatever, but in this situation, yeah,
And that
yeah,
happens
yeah.
with what she does, and it's she can tell you guys what she does, and I felt it was very important. And I asked her out of her busy schedule if I can have just a little of her time, um, because how much she dedicates, right, to the community, I admire. Like, I don't say I admire too many women out there
Mhm.
because I'm like, oh, there's hating, there's, you know what I mean, Demita.
Right.
But it's something about you. She's so much like me. It's crazy. Like,
Mhm.
sometimes it's just crazy. But I'll let you talk to me because I can go on saying all these amazing things about you because you're really an amazing woman. And I want you to know I love you on a personal level and I admire
Yeah.
you from one
And the
woman to
feeling is
another.
very much mutual. I love you so much. It's funny how the day we met, we took off as friends and now we're sisters and we have a mutual partnership, love for each other. And I don't get that a lot. Usually, we took our strengths and hey, let's work together for human rights, for civil rights and everything. And I
So
appreciate that about you. So thank you. Because I don't get that a lot. I reach out and beg people, look at this is what I'm doing. This is my mission. And it's like, oh, okay, well, do your thing. And they go on about their day. So
I
it
know.
really makes me feel good that not only did you jump on board with, we work together a lot. You advise me, I advise you, and there's never
Yes,
any jealousy between us. We work together to make both organizations stronger and we learn a
absolutely.
lot from each other, and that's what sisterhood is about. So thank
Absolutely. And I thank you. I thank you because you guys, what she's saying is so true. There's been times that we've had to walk each other through cases where we're like,
you.
I don't know what to do, and the
Yeah.
other one will have the information, or we might know someone who knows someone. And
Right.
that's just the way it works. But that's what United is all about. That's what
Yeah.
all human justice organizations should be doing together. And you know
Yes,
that that's not the
definitely.
case all the
It's
time.
definitely not. I told you that I've only been doing this for 2 years now. Um, and I told you that when I first started, you know, I've always been a humanitarian, but as far as on the criminal justice side, it's been 2 years in October. And I thought we were all going to be kumbaya and everybody was one big happy family. And this is high school sometimes. It was a whole world that I wasn't expecting.
Absolutely.
So it's a learning lesson, but you continue on with what you got to do because the people behind the wall are suffering. People facing incarceration are suffering, and they're depending on us and our knowledge to help guide them through it. So,
Um, so before we go on to talk about next year, I'd like to talk about any current cases you are okay with talking about right now that you
okay.
really think that the audience should look into, and we'll see if we can put links so that they're able to support these cases if that's okay with you. Damita, of course,
It's
I will never
perfectly
do anything
fine with
over
me.
your head.
Perfectly
Okay.
fine with me. Well, for those of you who don't know, FAIR, we're stronger when we can catch you before you've been sentenced. And FAIR was formed at the beginning of COVID, so the courtrooms were not open. So I was meeting all the people that were sitting in prison for 20, 30 years, begging for anyone. to see their case and help them out of this hole. And so that when it happens that way, it's so much harder. And so Anna and I, we spend a lot of time talking about the laws that can trap anybody. Um, One of the common ones we talk about, me and Anna are really close. So, I might have a new Instapot and she might know it's over there and she wants to come get it. But when she comes over, I'm being investigated by the police and I'm cooking crack in
Yeah.
my house, maybe. Now, she just came to get the pot, but as she's leaving, she gets arrested because they see her come in. We're friends. They done heard us on the phone together. So they're assuming that she knows I'm a drug dealer. So Anna gets arrested too, even though Anna had no clue I was a drug dealer. And it's
Mhm.
laws like this that got so many people trapped. Um, I'm going to talk about today, even though he doesn't like black people, but this could happen to anyone. He's falling under the kidnapping, false imprisonment laws in Georgia. So in the state of Georgia, I want you to think about what I'm saying and visualize. Have you ever done this to your child, to your spouse, to a coworker, anything? I when I first learned about the kidnapping and the false imprisonment laws, I thought, damn, I should be in prison based on these laws. But in the state of Georgia, you can be found guilty of kidnapping if you move a person and they don't want to be moved. So if I see Anna is irritated and she looks like she's about to step outside of herself, and I grab her and I drag her to my car, I just kidnapped her. Now I'm helping her. Anna knows I'm helping her, but you didn't want me to move you. So I literally just kidnapped you because I grabbed you and I drug you to my car. Now, if I put you in my car and say, sit here and don't you move, and you're physically trying to get out of the car to go fight or whatever you want to do that I'm trying to stop you from doing, now I have false imprisoned you. It's that easy in the state of Georgia to get these cases. So in this case, the wife was having a hissy fit, mad about something that the husband did, and she was throwing pots and pans at him, and he couldn't calm her. So what he did was he's a big guy. He's about, I don't know if you know the wrestler Steve Austin. He picked her up and he drug her to their bedroom and he locked her in until she calmed down. Then he let her out. The mother-in-law, his mother-in-law, her mother, could hear the chaos. So she called the police. Now they live in a trailer park community. So I don't know if you've ever lived in a hood or low income community. The police don't come quick. It takes them a minute. So by the time the police get there, they've calmed down. When the police get there, they're cleaning up the mess. And you can see the pots and pans and whatever else the wife was throwing everywhere. You can see they saw where she threw a hammer and it kind of nipped the wall. And because the mother-in-law called and thought he did something to her, they were coming to arrest him, which pissed him off. And he just started going crazy, cussing at them, calling them pig and whatever other name we call cops. And they ended up trying to arrest him, and he's bigger than them, so it took backup to get this man in cuffs. They put him in the car. Then they go into the home and they start searching the home, and they find a small baggie of a personal amount of cocaine. Now he has a drug possession charge. So his charges are he's charged with kidnapping, false imprisonment, endangering children, and the drugs because of what his wife did. Um, they asked him to sign a plea. He's been sitting in jail all year. They asked him to sign a plea for 9 months and do 20 years on parole. Now, with him possibly being a drug addict, he's going to violate that parole and end up doing a 20-year bid in prison. So his wife reached out to me. I taught her the constitutional rights. We broke the case down to a science, applying the law. We broke down the kidnapping law. We tried to get her to do an affidavit. They wouldn't let her put her statement on an affidavit where she took ownership to her part. And
Mhm.
if he refuses to sign the plea today, he would have got life imprisonment or possibly life imprisonment because in Georgia, kidnapping and false imprisonment is a mandatory life sentence.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, but when I get there, he doesn't like black people. It's a little bitty town. The police told me if there were any black people, you can count them on your hand. And so he didn't like black people. He said there's no way that me, a black woman, could know anything that can help him out of this, and he chose to sign a plea. hey, buddy, I'm not going to fight you. Do what you do.
I know that's
Do
right.
what you do. So he signed the plea, and that was that. I got back in the car. I called in a girl. Guess what just happened? And I headed back to Georgia.
Um, wow.
Right.
I tell
But
you,
there, but just for that example right there, if you're ever in a situation like that, the first thing you remember, they didn't have probable cause to search the house.
that's what
Once
I
they
was gonna
got,
say.
yeah, once they got there and they saw that she didn't have any bruises on her, that, whatever happened, they won't listen to anything they had to say. At most, they could have just gave them a warning and left. But they got mad because he was calling them names and all that stuff, and that's how it escalated. He also got resisting arrest. Well, he shouldn't have been under arrest in the first place. You come into his home, he's telling you that nothing's going on. His wife is clearly not caged up, and they pursue on with their thing. The government doesn't like to say that they're wrong and take things back. So they try to, hey, just sign this plea, do this much time and be done with it. And if you say no, because I'm not guilty of this, they throw the book at you. So
So you took the plea bargain.
he took the
So if he
bargain
would have just
because
listened to
I'm an
Damita,
ignorant little black folk.
so
Because I
if
don't
he
know
would have listened to
nothing.
get some advice from Damita Bishop,
He didn't want
he would have
to, and
known they
I
weren't even
told
supposed to be in
him,
the house in the first place.
Anna, I told him I got to check again, but the last I checked, women and black people do have the right to read now. Are we still allowed to read? Because if we're allowed to read, he might want to trust that I know what I'm reading. So, but he chose not to. No black person can tell him anything about the law. You're right. Enjoy the next 9 months. I'll leave on that note.
Insane, insane. But
Yes, honey.
that's so the listening audience gets a little taste, right? Of what Demita and I deal with, because and I'm sure we're not the only ones. And this is the kind of stuff that I call it petty betties, the okey doke.
Right.
Demita knows that's one of my favorite words, the okey doke. I'm like, I'm not with the okey doke. I'm just not.
Right.
I'm too busy, And
Right.
she's so slammed. I'm so slammed. Taking 4 hours of your day because that's really about what it's going to take, or between traffic and whatever else. That's a long time for you to
That
just
is.
turn around and say, I don't think a woman, or at that, a woman of color is capable. So some of the most
Right.
smartest women are women of color. Just FYI.
Right.
I
At
speak for
this
me. I
point, if
love
I
the
don't
law.
know anything and they're trying to throw me away, I'll listen to a rabbit if they know what they're talking about. It's like, but hey, you can't force what they say, you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't force
Yes,
them to drink it.
drink water.
Okay, you don't, okay, you want to take the plea, you want to do not, because, they found a little baggie of drugs in his home. So I'm taking that he's a drug addict, which means you
Mhm.
got 20 years on parole, is what you just signed for. You're going to violate. And guess what? You're going to have to go to prison for 20 years when you violate. You're going to be looking for a little black girl like me to
And, and,
help.
and that's how they trap you. That's how the system
Yeah,
traps you. I try to tell people.
exactly.
So what they'll do is they'll tell you to take plea bargains, or you'll do some time and then you got to get out on papers. Well,
Right.
you violate, you got to go right back in, and then they keep mounting up charges till eventually you're a habitual offender. And guess what happens? You have to
Mhm.
mandatory sit there
Right.
for 2 decades, 3 decades. That's that. There's nothing you or your mom or no one, no Demita, no Anna, no Fair,
No,
no We See
nobody.
You. No one can help you unless
Right.
you're lucky. There's a lucky few here and there, but that's majority is not going to happen.
Right. And like what you and I were talking about, a lot of this is the language that's in the law. So you can get caught in the system where, you get one of these types of sentences like accessory, conspiracy, kidnapping, false imprisonment. Even in oh God, I'm trying to think which state that was. Armed robbery. You can be convicted guilty of armed robbery with no gun, no knife, no nothing, with your cell phone. If you have your cell phone and you, I don't know, hit them with it, I don't know how that would add up to armed robbery. But if you're taking something that doesn't belong to you and you have your cell phone on you, that could get you trapped on an armed robbery case, which is a mandatory life sentence.
And
So
some states have the craziest laws.
the
If people
craziest
actually
laws,
sit down
yeah.
and read it, they're like, why does this even exist?
Right. When we hear a crazy case, I always say, is this a law in your state? Like, is this okay? Before I start, because you can't beat it if it's a law. I hate to tell you guys that. You're not
Mhm.
gonna win it if it's a law. The only thing you can do is try to advocate to get that law changed because that law is bringing so many people this type of trauma. And the sad part about it, if you successfully can get the law changed, they're not going to make it retroactive. So, okay, we're not going to do this to anybody else, but we're going to keep these 1,000 prisoners we got because of this law. So
And
it's
that's
a
something
lot.
that I wish we could work on. I wish that there was some way we can change those laws. Damita and I talk about things like this all the time. Like,
Mhm.
I just wish I can just snap my fingers because some of those people, I mean, she's got some
Right,
cases. I have cases that's 20 years. You know what it is to be sitting in there 20 plus
right.
years? And
And
some
you
of
know
them, they
you
know
didn't
they
do this.
committed the crime. They're just like, I don't know why I should spend the rest of my life in here when
Right.
other people committed the same crime and are out on the street, probably committing more crimes. Not
That's gotta
everybody,
be
but some.
torture. That's gotta be torture to commit a crime. And somebody did something far worse than what you did, but they get to go home and you have to die in prison. That
Hmm.
has to be changed. Child molesters are the worst humans alive to me. And they
Hmm.
don't get no time in prison. If
Hmm.
well, if they're a specific color, but they don't get no time in prison. There's I have a case it's a federal case. It's based out of Louisville, Kentucky. The man was 19 at the time. He's 44, I believe now. But him and his friends robbed 9 banks by brandishing their weapons. They only pointed their weapons and said, "Give me your money," and got the money. Now, the kicker to this is they didn't make it far. The bank got the money back, and none of them are ever getting out of prison. The flip side of that is um the Aryan Republican Army. Same, like I think his crime happened in 96. Theirs might have happened in 97, something like that. But the Aryan Republic Army, they blew up the banks, they took hostages, they kidnapped people, had them in the getaway car with them as they drove off. And the only one that got a life sentence got one because he shot at the police officers. Everyone else got like 15, 20 years. So it's stuff like that. Like, okay, we all robbed a series of banks. It's all of these are federal cases, but all we did was point our weapons. They blew up the bank, which could have took lives. They kidnapped people, grabbed hostages, put them in the car with them, endangered their life by going on a shootout with the police, and they get to go home, and I gotta die in prison. This isn't fair.
That's a lot.
It
But
is.
that's the truth. That's the type of cases we get. Sometimes, Benita as well as myself, we'll get overwhelmed because we want to change these things. We want to be able to help. That's why we do what we do, right? We don't do it
Right.
for our looks. We don't do it for clout. We don't care about any of that. I don't.
No.
I know she doesn't.
I want the clout. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. She looked like what?
But I'm like, huh?
Look
No,
like, are you serious?
yeah, no. But I love Davina's sense of humor. I tell you, it's her sarcasm. She's a lot like me. It's her sarcasm. But you know, when you think of these extremes, right, and you dissect it, one says to themselves, "How? How does this happen? How?
Right.
How? How did we mess up?" There's wow. Did you see that?
Nah.
There's my whole background just went to the ground.
Oh,
Um, you know, I'm really big on saying a lot of times when we're people of color, just the Constitution alone, read it, read
right.
it, read it, learn it. That's your
Right.
first step.
Your
That
first
is
line
your
of
first step.
defense is the Constitution, always. Know your constitutional rights. And when you argue with them, you have to argue with them using their laws. You can't, we have to, I know I'm an emotional person. When you get my blood pressure going, I, "Rah!" but we actually have to do our best to stay as calm as we can and throw their laws back in their face and break them down. Well, you guys wrote the Constitution. You guys said I have a right to a speedy trial. You guys, like, you didn't say only a specific clout of people. You didn't say only a specific race. The Constitution says all United States citizens, and I'm a United States citizen. It says all people. Any law that's in your state, you have
Mm-hmm.
to announce the fact, well, based on this law, and you have to, and this is going to sound crazy, but you have to use the dictionary and use those words, the real definition of the words, because you'd be surprised at how much damage you can do, how much you can help yourself just by saying, wait a minute, the definition of this word, as per Webster's dictionary, is blah, blah, blah. There's no way I was doing this. How is this on my indictment? It's a weapon of mass
Absolutely.
destruction, your knowledge.
Mm-hmm. And see, that's what I think, right? And we've talked about this a lot too. That's what I think that they do to a lot of us people of color. They
Mhm.
don't want us to learn. I'm gonna tell you guys one thing. Damita Bishop, she's got a lot more time than I do when it comes to those cases in court and all of that.
Mhm.
But I'll tell you one thing. Damita Bishop has people questioning, are you an attorney? Do you practice law? Um, which I was going to
Yeah,
talk to her about it. We should just register in school together, girl, and we'll really be
girl.
killing the thing.
It's, where we gonna have time to go back to school? Our busy
And that's true.
schedule.
And it's true. I know our schedule's so slammed, but and it's true. But I'll tell you, she is killing it, and I'm not just saying it.
Thank
When
you.
you have people questioning, and she's telling you, no, this is what the system does. I've studied it. I've dissected it.
Hmm.
I'm fighting for these clients right now, and I can't say too much because it's a minor, right? I have a court case that I have coming up in Damita. If you're available in January, it would be great to have you, because it'll be before I have to go down. But it's a minor who's mixed Asian and African American or Black, and she was charged, but meanwhile the other student wasn't. But she was the one that was attacked.
Hmm.
And I'm just like, wait a minute. So you self-defense yourself, and now they're charging you. And they wanted her kicked out of school. Like I told the parent, I said, in that county, just because I'm just very familiar with Florida, right? So in that
Right.
county, I know for a fact they like to kick out all children of color out of school,
Right.
unless you're playing football or something. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And and I can't go into too much details on air because it is, a minor, and I'd rather not. But these are the type of things. So see, they've already got her in the system now, right? She messes up again, being a kid, like a lot of kids do. And guess what happens then? She's got so much more trouble for no big thing. It all started out over a fight, which reminds me of something like Meek Mill. It started over something really small when he was a lot younger, right?
Right.
And then look how much time he spent most of his life really in jail, on and off,
Right.
you
See,
know,
in her
with stories like
situation,
that.
like, and the sad part about it, we have to go up to the school, get their rules and regulations on stuff like this. Did she fight? Did they fight in school?
They did, but see, this is the thing. They tried kicking the student out. Mom fought all the way. I just kind of told her, I said, sometimes
Which
it's
one? The
better
one you're helping or the other one?
the one I'm helping. And
Yeah.
mom fought all the way. So because she fought all the way, guess what? Here comes a court date to
Okay.
where her
Yeah, I
daughter will be
definitely need to
over.
go with you.
Mhm.
And when, one day when you got time, because I know you don't want me to give your weapons out online on air because you never know who's watching, but we can go over some things
Mhm.
that mom need to have done already.
Mhm.
And it's sad we have to go above and beyond to fight for our
Absolutely.
children.
Absolutely.
But
Especially our young ladies, because that's a young lady of
yeah,
color. Make sure that we stick and help each other out, because at the end of the day, guess what? If her record's messed up and she wants to do certain jobs, that's out the door because her record is messed up.
That
So let's help each other. Let's fight for one another. Damita and I are so big on that. And I just found out because the court date's in January. And I said, I will be there and I will speak with Damita. And I just remembered now, Damita. So, I
that's
forget.
okay.
And, it
It's
happens to us all the
December, so
time.
we got time to get schedules together.
Yeah.
But
So,
yeah,
yeah. So,
definitely do. Some cases. I want to thank you for letting Matthew Baker's mom come on and tell a story. To me,
I
that is
love
one of that is one as far as what I have, and if anybody's watching it that I advocate for, let me finish my sentence before you get in your feelings. He is one of the most important cases I have. And the reason why is because he has not been sentenced. I caught them when they reindicted him, so I was able to walk each phase. So I'm learning that what I'm doing is working. And we learned that your public defender, which we all know, your public defender actually works for the court. So they're going to do very little to help you. The more money you pay an attorney, the more they're going to do. And I'm giving them gems that $1 million attorney would have gave them if they have that type of money.
and
So
that
we start
frustrates the system.
that frustrates the system. So they've done everything from try to prevent me from being in the courtroom. When I go to court, I have a notebook paper. Matter of fact, hold on. Oh God, it's in my trunk. I was about to say I have my notebook paper here, and you see this? This is what I take to court with me and a pen. And I take notes. I write down every motion that was filed. If they say a law was violated, I write that law down. I write down whatever each side is saying, who said it, what witness said it, because you'd be surprised. I was so blessed to have Kaylin watching from Zoom and then eventually in the courtroom with me on Matthew's case because she caught a lot of things that I missed. And so if you can get more than one person in that courtroom with you taking notes. And another thing, I don't see Matthew doing this, but the person that's the defendant needs to be writing too. They need to be writing notes down. Because nobody should fight harder for you than you. This is your life. If you lose, we're all going home. You're going to prison, not us. So nobody should be fighting for you harder than you fight for yourself. And that's important. And sometimes I have the law book with me. So depending on how much they let me bring in the courtroom. So they try they try to, the state courts, most of them you can bring your phone in. But I picked my phone up in Mark Matthews' case and in another guy's case. And they ran over there, put your phone down. And I was like, I had left my pen and I was just typing in my note so I wouldn't forget it. But I dropped the phone. Okay, I'll put it down. But also his is important because he is facing the death penalty for what another person did and the other person is even trying to help him because he's like, not only did I not know Matthew like that, I have schizophrenia. Matthew had no clue I was about to have a break because I didn't know. I just snapped. So, and they're not listening because they don't want to take it back. They've done so much to hurt Matthew. They just want to keep going and get it over with. They don't want to fight. And we're forcing them to do their job. We're forcing them.
And they don't like that.
They don't like it.
Damita's not, trust me, Damita's not their favorite person at all. I've heard from all
They
parties.
hate me. They hate me so much. They do. But most of the only attorneys that don't like me are the ones that's not doing their job. I get on the other attorneys' nerves, but they respect what I'm doing. And when I say get on their nerves, it's because as soon as we leave court, I'm waiting for the attorney to leave the courtroom and I'm questioning them like I'm their boss, honestly. And it pisses them off. But they answer me. Like I'll step out there. So why didn't you say this? And why didn't you use this and this law? Why this and why that? And they're like, Damita, oh my God. But we'll have a healthy conversation about it. Sometimes I am wrong. Sometimes I don't know because I'm learning. And sometimes I'm right and they go back and they fix it the next time. They'll come back. You need to get you a job as an attorney because you really get on my nerves. Okay. Thank you for helping me. And I always say, thank you for helping me help other people because I'm learning as I go. When I started
Absolutely.
advocating and speaking for them, I didn't know anything about the law, nothing, but what the people in prison taught me about their case. So they
And,
started.
and, and Damita, I'm sure you can vouch to this along with me.
Mhm.
I have a few people that I use in prison
Yeah,
that actually dissect the law and know more than many of us out on the
let me
street.
tell you,
Believe that.
I do, but be careful with that. And the reason why is because they get jealous. They get jealous, and it's understandable, kind of. But you got to keep in mind, like I had at one point like 11 lifers in various prisons nationally that I would say,
Mhm.
hey, I got a case from your state. Can you do it? And they would charge me like $200. I'd send it to them, and they'd work the case for me. They do the habeas or whatever. But then when their case comes to the court, they want all the attention on them. They want me to stop everything I'm doing and focus on their case and their case alone. So they get jealous easily. A lot of times they won't work. So I had to be like, if you have a lifer in the same prison that you that is willing to work this case, let me know and we'll get the money on their books so that they can work for you. That way you can go over and make sure that they're working your case because I can't go into the prison and check. You know what I'm saying? So just be careful with that because I've had some bad experiences. And then when they get a girlfriend, they stop working. Like if they get somebody on the outside to be their girlfriend, it's over with. They're not going to work anymore because now they're in love. So
Um, I'm sorry, Davida. I had like four calls that tried to come in at the same time. So if I froze on you, that's why. I'm like, stop.
yeah,
But and that would make sense. That would make sense. But it is a good weapon to have when you do need help. A lot of times, or something quick, like just a quick. What do you think about this? Is there a
no, they're
law
great for
or
that.
something missing? You know what I'm saying? But
That-
and of course, if you do have somebody that does that, make sure that you send them something in their books. Not that you're paying anything, but it is a
Yeah,
service because it's the
most
right
of
thing to
them
do.
don't charge anything. They just,
Absolutely,
they feel like it's their debt to society, especially if they're guilty of their crime and they know they're never going to get out. They
absolutely.
feel like God will forgive them if they help other people get out. So that's their thing. And,
Um,
you still want to advocate for them for possible clemency just as a thank you for helping me help other people.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I have to ask. I know you're going out of state this Friday, and the
Yes.
reason why I know is because I invited her out to dinner, and um, she's like, I'm going to be out of state. Can you tell the listening audience about what's going on? This is an unbelievable case. It's actually Dr. Phil interviewed the family. Is that correct?
Yes, he did. Dr. Phil did interview them. And would like for you to, if you have time, when you
Hmm.
get back in town or whatever. But they're out of Virginia. I want to say it happened in 2003. Christopher Bennett was 18, 19 at the time, and he walked in on his stepfather molesting his 6-year-old sister, and he shot him. Now, stepfather was, I don't know if you watched the episode. He's a heavy set, big guy, kind of tall. And Chris was kind of small at the time. He's grown since being in prison, but he was kind of small and really skinny. So how was he going to get this big man off of this child?
Hmm.
But when I watched the Dr. Phil episode, I've talked to Chris several times. We've messaged each other. I've interviewed him. I never knew that he got molested by the man too until I watched the Dr. Phil episode. And so
Oh.
it was really hard to walk because Anna, we get to know the family. And I knew the girls were traumatized. They never talk about it. They just whatever we got to do to get Chris out because he saved us. We haven't been molested since he did this. And the mother, the trauma she went through, I related to the mother. Not, I know she was drinking uncontrollably to deal with, the fact that she lost custody of the kids and the state granted the pedophile the custody of the kids, and it really killed her. So she became an alcoholic, but through her alcoholic state, she was still trying to get those kids out the house, and the government just totally ignored her. They put this man over her because he had money, he worked for the state, and basically after their marriage ended, she went back to just being, and she's not nothing, but in their minds, nothing. So they
Hmm.
ran all over her, and the kids continued to suffer until Chris did that. And now, she was able, I think the kids had to stay with her mother or one of their grandmothers. I don't know if it was his mother or her mother, but they had to go stay with their grandmother. And then, now that they're grown, they're all a family again, and they're trying to get Chris out of the system. It was a really sad episode to watch because they said more than I knew, and it was heartbreaking. I cried the entire episode of Dr. Phil.
So
But
I want to watch it because I am a fan of Dr. Phil's show when I do get a chance. I
mhm,
haven't actually because I've been like one thing after another, one thing after another.
mhm,
But I want to sit down and watch it, and I'll probably take that time because I have some time this afternoon to sit down and watch it because
yeah.
just hearing the story, I'm like, anyway, you can finish saying. So he gets
Well,
this long
just
sentence.
based on what you're saying, like I think the court is so unfair a lot of times. Like, yeah, I know the laws is a law, and imagine walking in. Like, I don't even want to imagine it, but if I walked in on somebody hurting Tanaya, my 11-year-old, man, I probably would be the next Chris in prison.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
you gotta like they gotta take that in consideration. This kid was molested, and then he walks in and sees his little sister, who he always loved and tried to protect, going through the trauma that he went through. Because you gotta, from what we know about child molesters, you become too old for them at a certain point. So,
Hmm.
if they like a kid, usually when you hit 12 or 13, they don't want you anymore. Now they want a smaller child. And
Hmm.
so imagine Chris knowing what he went through at that age, and now it's the sister. He snapped. And one shot, that's all it was. He didn't just continue to kill him. He shot him once. He said he didn't even intend to shoot him. He intended to scare him, but I guess his head came up right when a bullet flew out the chamber and it caught him in the head. So Dr. Phil did buy him a post conviction attorney, and where he suggested that we do everything we can to get it in the media because that's how people get granted
See.
clemency. You pretty much want to force the governor to take a look into something.
Yeah.
This is a state case. So every
Hmm.
time you get a new governor, you got to try to force them to let this person out
Hmm.
peacefully. So we're all headed to Virginia because the governor has less than a month before he leaves and a new governor takes office. And we want this governor to grant him clemency on his way out the door.
So
So
this
that's
one
why we're
is
headed to Virginia.
this one's I'm assuming is a from one party. Is it switching parties, if I may ask, or you do have no idea about that? If it's switching from one party to another,
Yeah,
the
it is.
governor.
I don't know
Okay.
the exact party. I don't know if it's Republican or Democrat or what, but I know that it is going to a new party because the governor got no. I take that back. I don't know because the governor, his time is up. This governor did his 2 terms, so it's a new
Oh, I
governor.
see, I see, I see, I
So
see.
I'm
Okay.
sorry, I don't know if he's switching party.
Okay. I thought that it was okay. I thought it was okay.
That's what I thought until I thought about it. No, he's done his 8 years, so
So
now it's a new
is there a
governor.
change.org for him?
It's a change.org. Christopher Bennett. You can go on YouTube and put Dr. Phil Christopher Bennett, and the episode will come up.
Hmm.
Several organizations have done podcasts for him. Um, I think Honeysuckle is getting ready to do an article on him as well.
Awesome.
So yeah, Kaylin's gonna be over that article. So his story is getting
Caitlin's pretty awesome too. I
she is.
really like the way she dissects things because I think all of us, that's something we have in common. Caitlin, Angie, you, myself, Versace's mom as well. She's
Wanda, yeah.
another amazing woman at dissecting everything and just going step by step to break it down for you. And I'm just honored, right, to have even
Yeah.
had the opportunity to walk cross paths with any of them.
And
Thanks to you.
these kids
Huh?
are blessed to have mothers like them.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
Shawanda, since you brought them up, so we had court for Versace this past week, and let me tell you the power of social media. I believe this judge seen my post because I broke it down that I can't believe his demeanor in the courtroom, how he was treating the minorities compared to everyone else. And I called him out. And so Shawanda was like, he changed his tune, his entire tune when he went to court this time. So we were waiting to see if he was going to grant him a retrial or if he was going to act as the 13th juror and overturn the conviction. So he agreed to act as the 13th juror. He hasn't overturned the conviction yet. He is going to go back and read the documents and the arguments on both sides, and he's going to come back with a decision. I feel good about it because before he walked out the courtroom, he told Versace, I want you to believe that the justice system actually can work. So saying something like that, even if he says no, I'm going to believe that he took the time to weigh out the law and what the arguments are on both sides. And he came up with a fair decision. Because a lot of times when people don't get the results that they want, they assume the judge was racist. There's rules to the courtroom, so the judge has to follow the rules. He can't just say, well, this is a black kid or a Hispanic kid, Asian kid, I'm gonna let him go. No,
Mhm,
he has to look
mhm.
at the laws, he has to follow the arguments, which case made the best arguments, the defense or the prosecution, and he has to base his decision on that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, you know, although there are some exceptions to the rules, as with anything,
No, definitely. There are.
Damita drilled them a new one. Let's just say that because I saw that live. I was cracking up. I was like, "Woo!" I
Right.
said,
There are. No,
"Yeah,
but see, we
hold."
can't. Let me tell you, I don't, Anna and I are very busy, and I'm probably just slightly more militant than her. But I'm going to say this in 2022, because we're getting ready to go through what's coming up for the next year,
Yeah,
don't waste my time. Don't waste my time. If you're scared, don't call me. Do
yeah,
not call me because we fight back. We don't go tearing up buildings and stuff like that. But we
no.
do make sure that you are doing what you are supposed to do by the oath of office that you took. And I'm going to use your oath against you. I'm going to use the Constitution, the laws, anything that you're misusing, we're going to use back. If you tell me that you're scared to piss the judge and the prosecutor off, I'm going to thank you for your time and I'm moving right along. I ain't got that kind of time.
Well, see,
I don't,
and for every case that you guys and our clients have to understand this, right? For every case that we take, it takes a lot of time to read through everything, first of all,
right,
dissect everything, go back and maybe have meetings with one another. Maybe a lot of times I'll include, because Damita and I, we work our cases together. So,
yeah,
but we want to both be separate entities and continue doing what we do because we love what we do, right? So
right,
if you have this and you're sitting here taking all of our time, and I'll give you an example because it's happened to me. I'm like, oh
hmm,
yeah, I'll help you. Let me read through everything. But now you're withholding like 5 pages. So you just wasted my whole time. Maybe could have been hours in between that. I could have been working another case because you wanted to withhold that maybe you did do something that wasn't
right,
so right. So, and Damita, this is something Damita and I always talk about, and I want the listening audience to know. We have cases that we know people are guilty. She mentioned
exactly,
she mentioned a case like that. We have cases like that. But guess what we do? We look at it and we're like, okay, you're right. You shouldn't get a 200-year sentence for something that
hmm,
maybe the crime wasn't that bad. And then you got these cases to compare, you know, things like that. Or was the law really broken? Is there something we
right,
can do here to at least help you get a little bit less of a sentence because you've already maybe taken whatever?
right.
Damita's
Now,
really big
Anna
at
and I
telling everybody. Go ahead. Oh,
we were just on the phone this Saturday with a case um where this person needs to be the poster child for having the law changed, the one with the kid
absolutely.
with autism. So you never know, like maybe you reaching out to us is gonna, and you're guilty, is gonna help thousands and thousands of other people once we get a team around us to say, hey, look at this law, look at the language in this law. Anybody can get caught up in this. We need to
Absolutely.
change this. And you get enough voices around it, we can use your case. We can highlight the case
That's
of
them.
state of Mississippi versus Damita Bishop. This is what happened. Just us seeing that, we able to get in and change it. And, moving forward, this won't happen to nobody else, but you've got to be honest. And don't assume,
Yes.
you don't have to lie. Don't assume that if we see this, we're not going to help you. No, let us see everything. I tell my children, you can lie to everybody else, but tell me the truth because I need to know what's going on so I can help you. And that's what I tell the people I advocate for. You can
Mhm.
lie to whoever you want, but when you're talking to me, tell me the truth so that I know how to help you fight.
And see, and that's the thing, because I'm sure Demita's a lot like me. I dropped the cases because I just felt like
Mhm.
he just wasted my time. And maybe it was something that I could have helped you with, but
Right.
I'm not gonna, I don't have time. I just don't, and I know that sounds crazy, but we're really
No.
busy. We're
Yeah.
really,
And got
sometimes
busy
we're up in the
over.
middle of the night reading a case while all
Let
of
me
you guys are
tell
sleeping.
you, in
Huh?
a 2-year span, okay, I have 142 that I actively advocate for. And I
Hmm.
know it sounds like a lot, but a lot of them is the same case, so they're grouped together. A lot of
Hmm.
them is the same issue, so they're grouped together. So,
Hmm.
but I have 142 people nationally that I advocate for, and a waiting list of more people sending me messages. Can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? And I just hold on. Give me a minute.
To get
Um,
these cases
Let me
together.
get some of these going. Let's get, to other organizations because sometimes it takes that. But it's it's a lot dealing with it. The system is deeper and more wicked than y'all even realize. Like we said, there's laws that need to be changed. But I always tell Anna and everyone else that calls me, it's before the reason why me and Anna can't unite our organizations is because I'm more focused on what happens before the Senate. And she can't give that type of time.
Mm-mm.
So what happens before the sentence is the sentence is the result of what happens before the sentence. And I
Hmm.
always tell people to put your case down. When they call me, if they call me and they have not even had their first day in court yet, I don't want to hear your sentence. Let's put that down for a minute. I mean, not the sentence, excuse me. I don't want to hear what you did.
Your side of the story, yeah.
I want to teach you some things first. So what we
Mhm.
do is we break down each phase of the courtroom and we learn what we're about to do. And then we pick up the case and we apply it to what's happening there. Because you're losing a lot of battles because you're not playing the game right.
There
And I
you go.
learned this because a man told me, a man named Seth Panaver, he's in Florida. So I'm gonna have to link you two up as well. But he did 17 years on death row. And I asked him, I said, Seth, how did you finally beat your case? He said, I put my case down and I quit throwing my case in their face because they're just staring at me like, okay. He said, and I looked at the rules of the court process. And when I looked at the rules of the court process, I understood why I kept losing because I wasn't playing the game their way. So when I started playing the game their way and I started throwing their laws back at them, they didn't like it. But on the day that he got exonerated, they didn't have a choice because he threw everything back in their face based on their own laws. That's why I tell people you don't have to go burning buildings down and looting and rioting. Just throw their shit back at them. They don't like it.
I know
They don't
that's
like
right.
it. They don't
I know
like it.
that's right. I
Hmm.
know that's right. And I love that you say that like that because, well, okay, first, you're going to Virginia. Is there anything else that you have going on right now that's very important? Because I want to make sure you acknowledge all of that first, and then we'll go ahead and we'll,
As far as important, all of it is important, but
of
nothing that
course.
is like, um, I'm just thinking, actually, not right now, no.
Well, because there's a
Mostly,
break now, really, with
yeah,
everybody.
we're
Everybody's
about
going
to
into
have a break.
vacation.
I got a few people that got their appeals coming up in 2012. What I was trying to get to when I was talking about the court process is every step of the way you want to make sure your attorney is putting things on record. And these
Yeah.
wrongful convictions are losing in the aftermath of their sentencing because their attorney did not object. And it's something that's why I say the rules of the courtroom. If you don't like something that happened in that courtroom, you have to object it in the courtroom. And when I say objected, I mean I object. Because if not, you're going to go to your appeal, but you didn't object it over here. So why are you objecting it now? And if
Yep.
anybody doubts anything I'm saying, when you have some time, look up the rules of the appeal. Look up the rules of the appellate court and you explain why I'm saying. So I have to teach people that first and say now. And religious people are the hardest people to work with because they believe everything is being negative. God tells you, the Bible tells you faith without works is dead. So you want to be prepared for the possibility that
There you
it's a
go.
game. So in any game, there's the possibility that you might lose. So
Absolutely.
you want to protect yourself on the back end at the same time, make them do their job on the front end. And you question the hell out your attorney. You get everything in writing. And
Uh,
you look up laws and make sure, even when I tell you something, if I say, hey, there's a law in your state that says ABCDFG, look it up because I could be interpreting it wrong. I'm not an attorney and I'm a
Absolutely.
different mind. So I might not be reading it right or I might not understand it the right way. You pick it up and read it and we can have a discussion and break it down until we get to the point where it's going to help you.
Absolutely. She has dropped so many nuggets. If you guys
Mhm.
can write it down, share it. That's why we do this. We want to
Mhm.
share. We
Yeah.
want people of color to be able. That's why I do what I do. I
Now,
want people of
Anna,
color to be.
not
Go
to
ahead.
cut you off, but we do have something important coming up. So we're starting with Florida, right?
Yes, yes, we
Okay,
are.
so we have decided it's too much of this going on. And so we were
Mhm.
having a conversation one day, and I said, Anna, I am so tired. Like, we're just going to keep
I'm
getting more and more
excited.
people until we're in the grave. So we've got
Mhm.
to do something. You know how when you teach people what to do when the police approach you, we have got to start getting them ready for the possibility that they could end up in the courtroom and warn them and protect them. So we are starting with Florida. Anna has already reached out to several churches because the best way to
Mhm.
get a group is through a church, and we're going to
Mhm.
teach you how to fight because we can't get to everybody. It's humanly impossible. We're not going to be able to get to everybody. So
Mhm.
we're going to start going through the states, teaching you all what to do.
If you guys would like for us to go to your state, let us know. I'm so excited about
Me
doing
too.
this.
Me too, because it's necessary. It's beyond necessary.
Yes, like the state of Florida, Damita, I'll tell you, you have to do 85% of your time.
Hmm.
85%. So it's not that 65-60 law like in many states. You
Right,
have to do your time. Okay. And so many men, right? Because there's a lot of Hispanics and blacks in Florida, in the bigger cities, are railroaded. They really are.
right.
And not to mention women, and like I mentioned to you, a lot of times they start them young, they start them in the system.
Right.
Anybody who truly knows the system, they'll tell you, yes, what she's saying is accurate. But do you know how many people were so excited that I can't believe two women are coming in together to teach us
Mhm.
this? And I said, all we want is just people to learn. That's it.
Right.
Just learn. Just you don't know if it might be your neighbor
Yeah.
that deals with this. And then you can be
Yeah.
like, you know what? I just went to a seminar and they taught me this or whatever.
And it's
Guest
not going
speaker,
to be
whatever.
boring. We're gonna break it down
We're not
like
boring,
we
I promise.
yeah, we're gonna break it down like we're talking to a 6-year-old because that's how I learn.
Absolutely.
Break it down
Absolutely.
to me so I can understand it. But I want everybody to remember this. The first thing that people always think is it's never gonna happen to me. And you might be right, but I guarantee you right now, you know somebody sitting in prison,
Hmm.
or you know somebody that
Absolutely.
knows somebody that's sitting in prison. And
Absolutely.
I always tell people that when they tell you that they're innocent, believe them. Believe them. Turn your back on them. Find out what's going on because it can be stopped in the beginning if we got more people um, going into these courtrooms, learning the laws, family meetings like that. Your family is your team. So, for instance, if Anna was to get in trouble and she reached out to me, I expect for Anna, all Anna's friends, Anna's husband, Nathaniel, even Desiree, the
Hmm.
dogs, everybody, all of us need to have meetings on Anna's
Hmm.
situation with Anna
Hmm.
involved. Get a book
Absolutely.
to that jail right now. Get her the book. What are
Hmm.
they seeing, Anna? Let's see the indictments. Well, we have her indictment. What can we do with this? This is what you can do once you're indicted. Get at the source. Wait a minute. These words mean the same damn thing. Oh, they got us effed up. And actually fight. And when they see that, When they see that you're not going to just let them take your person, ooh, you have
They
a
don't
better
like that.
chance. Yeah, they don't like it, but you have a better chance getting a good app. Because the only way to make it go away is to give you back.
Hmm. Hmm.
But they're
Hmm.
not going to let them have Anna. Just let her go. She's innocent. Let her go. They won. Case closed.
Yeah, and see, and that's what it's about. I think, and on you'll notice that even if you have cases that are already incarcerated, that when the family is united, those are the ones that are doing so much better.
Yeah,
The ones that don't have anybody are usually the ones that are calling the organizations. Trust me, it's
right.
usually them most of the time.
But let's be honest, calling an organization is not going to get you out of prison
No,
tomorrow. It
mm-mm,
takes time, and that's why we have to all work together. Like we really
absolutely,
have to like get together under one umbrella and everybody work together for one person. And
absolutely.
that's just to put a visual in your head. You have a lot of organizations out there that are getting funding and they're not doing what they told the grant writer. And then there's
Hmm.
organizations not getting any funding that's putting in some real work and
Hmm.
they need help, but they're small, but they need help.
That's us.
Right.
That's us.
Right.
Literally.
I was meditating and praying this morning and I was telling God, I don't need a pat on the back. There's so much easier things I can do to get it. I'm a very good cook, which I very seldom get to cook anymore, but I'm a good cook. If I want a pat on the back, I'll cook for the community so they can say, oh, girl, this is good. That's
Yep.
less stressful than going into the courtroom trying to
Yep.
fight for somebody. That's
Yep.
less stressful than a person sitting in prison for decades begging you to help them get their story out. That's less stressful. Or hell, I'll learn how to turn a backflip if I if I want
Yep.
somebody to be praised to get someone's praise. It's not about that. It's about this unjust system. It's not, and we do say black and brown people a lot, but let's be honest. If you don't have the money to fight these people back,
There you
you
go.
are going to be affected by this system, whether you're white, Asian, Hispanic,
Yep.
Arab, black, whatever. You are going to be affected by this wicked system.
Absolutely.
And they tell you
Absolutely.
your lack of knowledge is not a defense. They expect you to know.
Absolutely.
So get the knowledge.
Absolutely.
Get the knowledge. That's all we can tell you.
Yep. And so this is real good. So, anyways, we're real excited about this. We'll be starting on this for the new year. We're hoping because I don't want to kind of slam things at the end of the year. I want to be prepared. That's what I like about Damita. She's like me when
Mhm.
it comes to that. We like being organized. So I
Right.
like that. Um, what else do you see for FAIR in 2022 coming up that you find important? And if you miss anything, I'll remind you.
Okay.
Listen.
Well, I just have events coming up mostly other than my normal court date. But in February the 19th, I have an event in Waycross, Georgia. It's going to be music, it's going to be speakers. But the biggest event will be 4th of July weekend, July 2nd, and I'm aiming for Morris Brown College. I say aiming because they've already agreed to let me do it. I just got to drop the money. And if somebody beats me to the date, then I won't get to have have it there. I have to find a new location. But this one is going to be activists coming from everywhere. There's going to be artists performing. It's anti 4th of July, not anti like we hate America, but everybody in America ain't free, and that's what we're bringing recognition to, and it's going to be huge. And the last big event, of course, is part two of Stop the Violence. Stop the Violence will be in October. I haven't picked a date yet, but it was a great turnout this past year, and so we're going to do it again. And this time, the city of Atlanta is going to work with me and not stress me out. So I know it's going to be huge. So
Yeah. So I think March 26th, we have a
now that's
rally.
not, yeah, that's not my event. I'll be going to Oklahoma. Are you coming as well?
I'm coming as
Okay,
well.
so yeah, we'll be in Oklahoma on Prentice Pond's case, where he received life sentence for insurance fraud. Now, he didn't commit the insurance fraud, but let's just life sentence for insurance fraud. And so it's a bunch of us headed to Oklahoma to address that state on that issue.
Yeah.
So
So I'm looking forward to that. Also, Anthony Gay, and I think I mentioned this event to you. It's sometime during the summertime. And these are things
That's the
that
one
they've
in
already kind of
Chicago.
booked us for. Huh?
Is that the one in Chicago?
Yes.
Okay, yeah,
Yes.
you never got back with me on dates or anything. So when you get
Yeah,
more information, let me know.
he just messaged me like 3 days ago, and he said he's still trying to rally up, getting everything together. So I said,
Okay.
just let us know the dates ahead of time because we're booking our calendar from now. Like we're
Yeah,
really trying to be organized this coming year for 2022.
right. I'm
Um,
trying to get everything
so I know that
lined up.
that's another. Go ahead.
Yeah, I said, I don't know about you, but I have to get everything lined up because I get invited somewhere at least once a week.
Hmm.
So if you want me to come to your event, you better tell me now. Because if
Absolutely.
not, somebody else is going to beat me, is going to say, hey,
Hmm.
Damita, can you be in
Absolutely.
Alaska on April the 5th? And I'm sure. And you'll be like, wait,
Absolutely.
I wanted you here. And it's not that we think we're all that, but we are trying to get our message out and we're
Hmm.
trying to reach as many people as we can. And if we want you guys to fight back, we got to be where your state is to let you know, hey, what they're doing to you in these mountains is not fair. Here's
Absolutely.
your rights.
Absolutely. And, those are the big events that I can think of, rallies and stuff that are going on, that I'm really looking forward to, that I've already booked out. I'm like, it's already the day is blocked on my schedule. So my son keeps talking about his birthday to me now. So
Happy birthday, Nathaniel. We are going to go see those cars. He wants to make sure. He's like, why y'all talking about calendars?
don't forget,
Don't
tomorrow's
forget,
my
you
birthday
said
and I
we're
like
going to go look at these
cars.
cars. That is the most important event for the year 2019. That is the most, nothing is more important than Nathaniel's birthday. I promise you.
Um, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, Another big thing is Damita kind of brushed on it, where we spoke to somebody. Anybody who knows me knows the autism hits home. My
Yeah,
son, Nathaniel, who Davida loves, is autistic, and there are some laws that need to be changed.
right.
And that is one of the things that we're working together. And we will start in the
Yeah,
state of Georgia and go on to different states to make sure it becomes a
definitely.
federal law
It has to
that
become a
things are
federal
changed.
law because I get calls. I don't know about you, but what you do, I know you do because we've discussed them. But
Hmm.
I get calls where not, it may not even be autism. It could be, Down syndrome or whatever,
Hmm.
but people who have mental illness are being put in prison with people who are not mentally ill. And a lot of times they're playing on their disability and they're like,
Hmm.
hey, you take the rap for this because they're not going to do
Hmm.
nothing to you. But they do. They put them in a cell, they're helpless and all kinds of stuff happens to them. So we've got to protect them. We got to protect what their mental illness is because there are mentally ill people who have committed crimes, but their brain isn't processing that what they're doing is wrong. Now, you and
Absolutely.
I know what we're doing is wrong and that this is not good, but to them, it's no big deal.
Absolutely. And one thing, while we're talking about the disabled, that I want to make sure, and I mentioned it to Demita the other day, there is a law in the state of Georgia, and I'm going to look to see if it's in Florida and other states, that if you sexually abuse in this is molestation. Some people call it molestation. To me, it's rape. But anything from molestation to rape, a disabled person, even as a minor, there's no statute of limitation. In other words, at any point, you will be held accountable for your crime.
Right.
So I want to make sure that people know this because it is a huge deal. And I advocate really big for the disabled community. And Davida knows that that's like my passion. That's
Right.
really where We See You was supposed to start. Like We See You, but it became
We get
everything
it
that we
everywhere.
need
Yeah.
today
Same
because
with fair. Like I said, we're supposed to be only at the beginning before they get sentenced, but we are conditions and we're
yeah,
post conviction and
yeah,
law and
yeah,
everything.
yeah,
Because, when they meet an activist that really puts their voice out and is strong, everybody wants them. So,
absolutely.
and that makes it hard. Like once somebody hears me say something, hey, get her for me. No, 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 stay over there. They got you. They got you.
Mhm. So, and I'm just like I said, I'm so excited, Damita. I'm so excited that we've taken the time to actually talk about this, kind of pan it out, and just know that in our minds, this is what we're going to do for the community. And guess what, guys? Just so you guys know, Damita and I don't get a dollar from anybody. I think I've gotten one donation, and but you know,
Right.
it was helpful, but we
My
don't
only
overall. We do
donation
it on
was
our own.
you.
Huh? You said
You're the
what?
only person that gave me a donation.
And see, it was all because of a cause. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and like I said, it's all we do this because we want to.
Right. It
I
needs
do
to
this
be
because
done.
I know a few that I personally knew that I was like, how did you get railroaded like that? Like, how? You know, and then I want to always defend, right? The ones that are have a least of a voice. And I know
Yeah.
Damita's like that, but what I love about Damita is she's so voiced out. She's like, no, we're not gonna have this.
I think I come off too strong sometimes because people back out. Oh, Demeter, I gotta go. Click.
You know, sometimes Damita will
Because
call
once
me.
you
She's like,
get me
I don't know,
going,
did
I
I
throw
say
it at you.
something? I'm like, no, they should know that that's your personality because some people are
Yeah.
just like that. You're just straightforward, you know? So, um, I'm just looking forward. And I just, again, I thank you because there's so much you've even taught me. She's got me pursuing more of the law. And probably I'll find in my calendar now to start going. You see, I'm going in January to a court
Mhm.
date, and I'm telling Damita, you know, we need to do this because I want to
Yeah.
help, you know? So
Right. Because
I just,
I feel like we'll be stronger that way in the beginning. Like we
yeah,
get into if, not necessarily in the beginning, even in post convictions, but if we go into the courtroom and not take the person's word, and we see for ourselves, you learn so much more. You
yeah,
learn so much more. And some of it, like I said, it can't be changed until specific laws are changed. And you know, that's what it takes the community. It takes all of you all to jump on board. We really should be marching for stuff like this too, honestly. We really should because
absolutely.
it's they lynch us in the courtrooms a lot more commonly than they lynch us on the street. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And see, the greatest thing in all this is your heart,
mhm.
your compassion for others. Even when you get mad and you're like, oh no, I'm mad. I need a bit, you know? But your compassion because it's coming from a good place. You don't ask for
Well, I
anything.
wanted as my friend, like aside for all of this, thank you for accepting me for who I am. Because it's
Absolutely.
I'm tearing up as I say that because we talk
Mhm.
all the time. I lose friends because of who and how I am. So when somebody accepts me just the way I am, I love it because I'm in my 40s now. I'm skating towards 50. It's hard to change, who you are. And I am passionate. I am aggressive when I'm passionate and I stand ground. I stand my ground. You know, Florida got a stand your ground law. Demeter has a stand your ground law. If I know I'm right, I don't give a damn how you feel. I know I'm right. You can't tell,
Absolutely. Hey,
and that's
and
what
that's the way
we
it's
do.
supposed to be.
Yeah. So
You
just
know,
to have somebody
what
in
people
my
might,
life that lets me be that way and not, you
there you go.
know, and I don't get it wrong. If I'm wrong, she'll be like, Demeter. I think you need
And
to.
I'll wait till she calms down, you know, and then I'll be like, Mama, let's walk through this. And I
Yeah.
do that with a lot of friends. Trust me, Damita, I think I'm that person for everybody. And then when I break down, everybody's kind of like, what happened?
Right.
You're usually the one giving advice. But, but I know that I'm usually tend to be that friend because I've learned to calm down. I used to be, just like
A
snap and just be
firecracker.
like, oh, yeah, a
Mhm.
firecracker. That's a word. And now I'm just like, no, okay, let's calm down. Let's walk through this step by step. Let's dissect it.
Right. And
So,
and doing this type of work is helping me become that way too. Because you can do so much damage with their own words, which,
absolutely.
so,
Absolutely.
but I do
Then
have to jump up off of here because it's getting late.
that's what I was going
Um,
to tell you. Did you
yeah.
please tell them how to reach you? Um, please tell them, anything else that you'd like. And again, thank you so much, Damita. You are beautiful. I love you so much. And I'm just
Love you
grateful
too.
that we crossed paths.
Me too. Thank you. So the easy way is, social media. Send me a DM. But if I don't answer, keep going. If you see I looked at it, don't think I ignored you. Send me another one because I might open a message and then the phone rings, or I might open a message and now I'm in court. So send it again. Hey, I don't know if you saw this. I had one guy that kept sending me the letter I for like 30 messages straight, and I just so happened to be like, the hell? And then when I said, "What do you want?" And he said, "Hey, I've been trying to get your attention for 7 months. Can you help me?" And because he did that, I took it upon myself to stop everything I was doing because that's desperate. Now, don't do nothing scary because I had a woman, I announced that I do ride share, and she went from Uber to Lyft doing a ride request for me specifically. And they kept saying, Carrie is sending you a ride request. I'm like, what the fuck is Carrie? Well, she's trying to get her husband's case to me. And
Uh,
okay, I'm never going to accept another ride request because even though you did it to get a case to me, somebody else might do it to take my life. So
Absolutely.
I'm not going to do that again. But,
Absolutely.
you know, the phone number though for the FAIR organization is 470-458-8360. And you can reach me that way to leave a message if I don't answer because, we're busy. We're always busy.
Yeah, sometimes Tamita and I will miss each other for 2, 3, 4 days. And then it's like when we got to talk, it's like we got so much to say. We're on the phone for like
Right.
2 hours.
Right. Yeah.
So, Mommy, thank you so much for taking out of your busy schedule. I know you got a lot of things to do. Again, I'm looking forward to this new year, new
Ooh,
things, new cases, changes we're making for the community, and that's what it's about. So, God
yes.
continue to bless you, protect you, give
Mhm.
you wisdom in all that you touch and all that you do, and that you shine at everything, because that's what it's about, sis. That's what it's
Thank
about.
you. Trying to be like you when I grow up. That everything you touch shine. Thank you for all that you do as well. Thank you.
All
I
righty.
love you. I'll talk to you later.